Hello all, this is Dr. Dave Maslach talking to you about reciprocity.com. The E is written with a 3, and in this particular video I want to send a email or send a video to all the parents and grandparents who actually have children that are getting their doctorate. So if you don't know me, I'm an associate professor of innovation strategy and entrepreneurship, and I created this whole reciprocity project to give back as much as I possibly can. There were so many people that helped me out that I wanted to pay the favor forward and help you out. So I created this sharing economy editing platform. That's what reciprocity.com is, and now I'm doing all these YouTube videos and blog posts and all this kind of stuff. All right, so in terms of parents and grandparents that just have a somebody in their life, one of their grandkids, maybe it's their children that just are accepted into a PhD program or a doctoral program around the world, I want to let you know that it is going to be a very challenging time for your kids, and they're going to go through a lot of sort of growth as a human being. And they're going to do things that you probably would think are unusual and strange. However, just know that it's an important thing to be there for them throughout this process. I found my doctoral process really, really challenging, and I got into a real deep state of depression at one point, real deep funk. And for a long, long time, and that has been something that I continuously work on and develop as a human being. And you should sort of acknowledge that your grandkids and your children are probably going to go through something like this as well. And there's a lot of sort of learning that goes on behind the scenes. I always say that you learn more about yourself in the process more than you learn about a particular topic whenever you're doing your doctoral program. So first of all, amazing that your kids can get into a program like that. It's really tough typically, and there's a lot that goes on in terms of getting into one. At least all the institutions that I would aspire to be at, and the one I'm at, it's tough to get into in terms of these programs, and so you should be very proud of them. So it is a challenging thing, and you've done well at this moment. So acknowledge that for the time being. But I want to sort of give you some tips and sort of thinking about what happens and what they're going through. So first of all, I want to say thanks to, I know my mom and my mother-in-law watches this every once in a while. So thanks, Mom. Thanks, Bonnie, for being there and dealing with all of this kind of stuff that we went through as a family. And it is challenging, and I'm going to acknowledge that at this moment. If you don't acknowledge that it's not challenging for all of us, then you're not really acknowledging life, right? So with that, here are some things that you should probably know about when your kids are getting a doctorate and you're having to deal with that. So first of all, it's highly likely that they're going to have to move away from you either during the doctoral program or, after once they're done. It is really difficult to get an academic job if they want to stay in the profession. And then even if they don't want to stay in the profession and they want to go into industry, they're probably going to have to move to a big city because there's just not that many places, not that many companies that want to hire PhDs. There's not that many institutions that are going to sort of acknowledge the research that they're working on around the world. And I'm talking about around the world. This is a really global thing, and scientists kind of realize that when you're doing it. I don't care if somebody's in Italy right now or Switzerland. I don't care about their nationality in any sort of way. I care about the research that they're doing. And so that's the same sort of concept and aspect that you have to sort of think about, is that they might, if you're living in the US or in Canada or wherever, they might have to move outside of that country in order to get a good position that sort of matches with who they are and what they're actually doing. Sometimes it's just really difficult to get a job. I had to move to a different country, 2 days drive away. I love being at the place that I'm at. It's a beautiful surrounding, and the weather's nice here in Florida. Although during the coronavirus, I don't know what's going on. But anyways, so you just have to realize that your kids are going to have to move away, and you're really fortunate if they don't. If they found an institution that's close by, and it usually means that you probably live in a big city. So if you're in New York, really much easier to find a position that is in New York, and that your kids can actually stay in New York with you or in that kind of vicinity, right? So just acknowledge that that's going to happen. It's terrible. Nobody likes it, but it's kind of the nature of the beast of being a specialist in a particular area. So the other thing is, you have to constantly remind the people that are doing it that you actually care about them a lot. They get beat up on a regular basis, and I hate this sort of aspect of my job, that my doggy's seen somebody outside. So if she starts barking, if Izzy starts barking, just disregard it. But anyways, you have to know that it is a challenge. Hey, Izzy, hey, come here. Hey, Izzy, come here, come here, Izzy, hey, come here. Okay, you want to see Izzy? Let me see if I could show you Izzy. Come here, girl. Let's see if we can see. All right, come here. Come on. Say hi to Izzy. There she is. Okay. Sorry about the interlude. Okay. So with that, you have to be very, very okay. You have to realize that they are getting beat up on a regular basis, and it's kind of part of the job. There's a lot of negativity that's built into the job in terms of doing corrections, right? So every time that they have an idea, it's our job as professors to beat up those particular ideas. And we're not trying to beat them up, we're trying to beat up the particular idea, because somebody out there is going to be questioning that particular thing. So you get a lot of negativity, and it really, really hurts for them. And that's where the process of learning about yourself and learning about who you are really, really matters. And that's where a lot of transformation goes on. So just reassure to them that you care, and you kind of have an idea of what they're going through with, or maybe you don't have an idea of what they're going through, but you just acknowledge that it is a challenging thing that they're actually dealing with. And if they're at a program that is worth any sort of credit, it is going to be harder and harder to get that. And you're going to have more and more, they're going to have more of those experiences and feel less sure about themselves. And they're going to feel a lot of self-doubt as they go throughout the career, and just kind of reassure them as much as you can. The other thing too is to give them slack whenever they don't get back to you quickly, or they're just not being responsive. They just have a lot of work to do. And sometimes you just truly do forget. I know that seems really crazy and you probably don't understand it, but you do forget when you're reading and doing stuff and you're trying to accomplish something. You just kind of get caught up and you lose time. And then all of a sudden you think you've sort of contacted somebody and you're in contact with them all the time, but it might be for them, it might be two weeks go by and you're just, I just barely did anything, right? So know that is going on in their mind, and just cut them some slack whenever that happens. The other thing is take them out for dinner and do sort of small things for them. It's a challenge, and just learn to deal with that, right? That they are having this sort of challenging thing, but it's your job to remind them that there's a life outside of academia. The people that get really into it are the ones that sort of lose perspective, and they get burnt out very quickly with it, or over the course of time, right? You do get burnt out. So just knowing that there is a life outside of academia is really important for them, and to catch up with them. Now, the other thing, so this is the fifth thing, is they're probably going to do things that are unusual, that you think are unusual, you find strange, and often uncomfortable. That comes with the property or the process of doing a PhD. We have to do things that are novel and seek information that is novel and different. People haven't studied that before, right? So, doing research on taboo topics, as the PhD, as your grandkids, they might find something to do with sex, for example, really interesting. They might find something to do with, I don't know, whatever it is, and they're not going to feel as uncomfortable with it as you do. Just kind of be okay. The other thing is, they might have to go and live for 2 months in, Ghana, for example, or, in the Ivory Coast, and you might feel really like scared for them. Just know it's kind of part of the process, and, reassure, obviously, make sure that they're safe and try to make sure that they're safe, but know that that might be part of what they're doing, what the research is, and you might feel uncomfortable with them going there. But it is kind of the nature of what we do is we go and we have to sort of explore the world, right? So you're thinking, one sort of imagery that you might think about is that we're kind of like, explorers, where we have to go and explore different aspects of what the world is like, no matter how uncomfortable it is, that for us and for the people around us, because that's how we discover things and we find new things. So if your kid has to go into a submarine and, maybe talk to sailors in the submarine for a couple of months, I know it's unusual, I know it's weird and it's uncomfortable, but it's part of what they actually have to do in terms of doing good research, and just be okay with that in terms of that particular process. Or maybe they have to go to another country to present their work, and the country might not be, you feel, as safe. Just it's part of the process. I know it's kind of awful to have that sort of feeling where you have to let go, but it is really part of the process and what we actually do. Now, the last thing is, I think it's important, and it's kind of a thing that we forget to do is, ask them what they're doing their research on and try to really find out what they're doing. And that's just kind of getting engaged in what they're actually doing. You're probably not going to understand it. However, just feeling engaged and people asking them it's good practice for them to sort of give practitioner or easier understanding sort of stuff that they're doing to other people. It really does help, but also it sort of builds bonds because they spend an awful lot of time thinking and doing that particular stuff, right? So just really understand that. So with that, that's all I wanted to leave with. And again, if you're a parent or grandparent that has kids that are doing a doctorate, congrats, it's awesome. You should be really proud about them, but they're going through a lot of stuff as well. So just be supportive and acknowledge that it is a tricky process, and they're gonna do okay, and you're gonna do okay. So just keep being you and keep being supportive. All right, take care and have a wonderful day. Bye. Oh, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you don't like it, thumbs down it. Whatever, I don't care. Bye.